what we're going to do today is have a little an exercise, an experiment. We haven't done this before, so we're going to give it a try. And the idea is that when we're on the Global Alliance Forum, a number of people have conversations with other people, and we thought we'd just do it in person to see how this goes, and maybe we'll do it as a regular weekly thing, and maybe not. We'll see what happens. And for today, the subject is going to be, why should you want to run for club president? How many people have already been a club president? So almost everybody but me and Rich, my good friend Rich. So
And Sam, don't forget Sam.
Okay, I'm looking for Sam. Oh, and there's Sam. Okay, hi Sam. It's hard to see all the little faces, you know. So welcome everyone. We're going to give this a try, and we're going to go from there. Since it's a small group, as long as it's under 20, we're just going to communicate amongst ourselves here. And we'll start it off with Lion Daniel doing our housekeeping. Lion Marney-Elkins.
All right. Hello, Lions. It is awesome to see you all here as a part of this conversation. Just as a part of the housekeeping, there are a couple of things you should note. One, that this is being recorded because there are quite a few people who expressed interest at attending this that could not be here because it's in the middle of the day and they have to work. So just be aware of that going forward. If you don't want to be on screen, you can most certainly turn your camera off. However, I would like to say to the people whose cameras are off, we have better interactions when we are able to actually see each other and talk to each other as human beings. So I always encourage that if possible. No worries if not. So you are all, mostly currently muted. Just be aware of the background noises that occurs. I was on a Zoom meeting last night with somebody who was, their partner in the service was on the other side, being like, "I'm drunk." Yeah, and it made a very interesting, combined club meeting. So just keep that in mind. And we do have co-hosts. We will be, if there's unnecessary background noise, we will be muting you, but you are now allowed to unmute yourself. So welcome to the conversation. If, as we are talking, just be aware of other people so we're not stepping on each other's toes. And if you would like to speak, wave your hand or raise your hand electronically or put something into the chat so we can have this conversation. And with that, I turn that back to our table conversation host, Lion Richard. The only addition to that is PDG Charlie Short has agreed to be the Ed McMahon co-host of this conversation. So, our witty remarks and laughing at our jokes, we've got that covered. So with
I'm
that,
good for something.
yes, back to you, Lion Richard.
Thank you, Lion Daniel. I have planned this event today in such a way that I have absolutely nothing to do. So my first order of business is to ask who has questions, and then we'll direct them to people who have answers. And if you were a club president, we encourage you to contribute as well. And I guess everyone's muted, is that correct? So if you'd like to say something, raise your hand and we can unmute you and we can go from there. Thank you. First question.
Hey, Lion Richard, before we do that, can I just make a couple comments?
Yes, please.
First of all, Richard, thank you for taking our amazing GLF conversations from a static, just posting to allowing us to get together to just see where this goes. I think this has got some great benefits for all of us to just have conversations and not just be online with typing. Second of all, as I was thinking about this when you brought this up, about what it really means to be a club president, it dawns on me that one of the things that I think holds a lot of people back from stepping up is they feel like if they're president, they have to do everything. And I think every one of us who has been in any leadership role knows that your real job is to be the conductor of the orchestra. You lay out the plan working with your team, and then you let your team and your club members be the band and bring the music together to create a beautiful symphony. And I think we often miss that when we are trying to make a decision on whether we're going to step up to any leadership role, be it club president or anything, because we feel like it's all in our hands and we have to do everything. And that's simply, it really shouldn't be the case. I know it happens frequently, but it really shouldn't be the case.
And I must confess that I'm going to be running for my club presidency coming up here in another couple of months. So I'm going to be learning from this exercise, as are the rest of you who are in my same situation. Lion Sam, are you thinking of running for president?
Good evening, everybody. You say it's afternoon. It's 7 o'clock here over in the UK. So good afternoon, good evening. Yes, I'm vice president at the moment, and obviously the next step would be to go up to president. I'm conflicted though at the moment because I know there's another lady in the club that would also be running for president. So I don't like the idea of fighting for the position. We're only a club of, I think, 28, I think, at the moment. So fairly small when you think of the United States clubs and everything, which are quite large. And I don't know, I don't like the idea of competition in the running of it, but I do see the progress of, you know, I've done 2 years now as a vice president because we decided this year to keep the same because of COVID and restricting everything. Our
Right.
president at the moment felt like he hasn't really had a year at all yet because he came into all COVID stuff and we haven't done any of our normal activities as we usually would. So yes, is the answer. I would love to go for president, but obviously I need to make sure I've got the support of the club behind me. Being the second youngest member of the club, if not the youngest, what I do find is, I don't know if it's what does he know because he's too young, or if it's a case of there's no way he could manage us because he hasn't got a clue. But the fact is, you know, I'm a businessman. I'm self-employed. I own my own business and everything. So I've also been leaders of other organizations and chairs of different things and put on big festivals and fetes in my town. So I've got the experience. And I think the majority of the club know that, but it's just trying to get that across to the other club that don't know me as well as some of the other members. And I guess that's where I am at the moment.
Fair enough.
Lion Charlie, what do you think about two people running in a campaign?
Small clubs, it's tough. Bigger clubs, a little different. But in general, a little competition is not a bad thing. I think that it gives people a chance to discuss the vision they have for the coming year. It gives a chance for them to start to work carefully to unite the operation after you have the election. But usually what, you know, I think competition in general is good and healthy as long as everybody understands that you're still going to be Lions and you're still going to be in the club at the end of the day.
So out of curiosity, what size clubs are you guys all from?
Well, I'll start with that. My club right now is at 43, but the vast majority of clubs in Indiana are 25 and under. We have a lot of experience working in smaller clubs, and we know what the dynamics are.
You know, I'm just going to jump in with Charlie, and I agree with him that in general competition is good. But as we work with the clubs from different sizes, in a smaller club in particular, it can cause division at times. So the recommendation we've made is for those that are interested to really talk it through and figure out what's going on. You know, do one of you want to go first and one second?
Right.
How can you work together to support one another and build a consensus, but also more than a 1-year plan? Because that's where a lot of our clubs fall down, is we have a single year plan and it changes every time we change our officers, which we all know is every year. So in those instances, and it doesn't matter how big your club is in this case, as a matter of fact, but in those instances, it's really always good for those two potential candidates to have those conversations and kind of put a plan in place, if you will.
Gail, Lion Gail.
Yes, I'm surprised that you've got two people running for president when the other one hasn't been vice president. Our club, my club, we elect a third VP, and usually at that point we have a contest, two people running. The person that loses is a director for 1 year, And a lot of times that person will come on and run for third VP the following year and get it. I ran a year, I guess it's almost 2 years ago, I ran for third VP, and then you automatically move up to second, first, and president. So that other guy, I was really surprised about that.
And Daniel.
Your club, your way. And so it is different in the various clubs. So I come from a club that was actually sponsored by Lion Gale's club. So we use the same exact model where it is a third, a second, a first, and then the president. And I do believe, however, though, in a smaller club, because our club has 114 members now. So, it's a little bit of a different vibe, but in a smaller club, I definitely think sitting down and having the conversation and talking about the vision and then agreeing to, no matter what, even if you run against each other, to create a 2-year plan, strategic plan. And what I would just say is, and I, promise in sitting down with this, even if we run against each other, that if you win, I will back every single play that you make, as long as we look at the good of the club. And let's talk beyond just your year. And let's talk about these 2 years of where we together can take this club. Unless there is a rush for you are looking at, you would like to run for be a zone chair and then run for district governor. The difference of waiting 1 year to do it to the next, there's not a huge difference. The most important thing is building up your capacity of your club in that process.
Lion Lisa. You'll unmute yourself, please. There you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Daniel, to your point, that's kind of the case that I'm facing, in that there is a push from several fellow club members in my club for me to be president next year. However, that would mean that I would skip over our second vice president and first. And the main reason why we want me to be president, and the reason why I want to, is because we have several openings in our zone chairs and also other positions, which I'm very much interested in. But I have that barrier that because I don't have president on my resume, I can't move forward. I don't want to, how do I want to put this? My club is 72 years old. We have about 41 members. We've let females into our club. I think this is our 3rd year. So I'm walking a very fine line, whereas, most of the members are all for it and are like, yay. But, it's taking some of our members some getting used to of having female members. So I'm trying to be very, very careful, and that I don't want to step on toes, and I don't want to upset people. I also don't want certain members in the club to get upset for my reason for wanting to be president, because I do want to be president for the good of the club and to bring new ideas and to try to revitalize and help with membership and everything. But I do have a future, and I don't want to come off with my fellow members as, oh, she just wants to get ahead. To me, I don't think that's a bad thing, but I don't know how other members are going to feel about that. So I've been really struggling, and I've been talking to several people, because again, I don't want to step on toes. And if I have to go through those steps, I will, but I don't know what's going to happen.
Lion Jody.
As the first female district governor from my district just a couple years ago, and I'd already been a 3-time president of my own club, because my club is actually going to be 100 years old next year. And we had females in the club before I joined. But I'll tell you that what I've seen for the first female in any of these roles, and the first of anybody, it doesn't, whatever the first is, it's really about building the coalition, having them recognize that you are there for the club, and the club is at the heart of, and the best interest of the club is what you're focused on. So recognizing traditions and acknowledging them and working with those traditions, but using those traditions to help launch the club moving forward. I mean, your club taking in females for the first time just 3 years ago is a huge step in itself. So now they've kind of adjusted to that, but now you're coming in as a first female president. And what does that mean? And because of a unique circumstance going quote unquote out of order, you know, it does cause some concern. So you know, you've been in the club for a while, you know, those members that might have that concern. I think it's up to you to reach out to those members and have those one-on-one conversations to ask what their concerns are and work through them with them one-on-one, not only for that member, but for you as you're planning your year to be able to make sure that you're meeting all those members' needs, because it's really a key step that most of us, as we step into president, don't have to take. But in your role and in your position, and the same with you, Sam, with the situation you're in, that might be a really important step for you to add to your list of things to do.
Thank you.
I have a question for both Lion Lisa and Lion Sam. I'm wondering, have you found a mentor who can help you through these kinds of rocky situations? Someone who's been there 1,000 years, kind of like my age, maybe, who knows who to touch and how to do things and can guide you. That might be useful.
I actually have 3, the current president, our past district governor, and someone in our club that he's 88. So he's been around, and yeah, we've had several conversations. So they've been great, and they're all very supportive. They're actually the ones that are pushing me to, I shouldn't use the word push, I should say encouraging me, because they know my future goals. They're my biggest cheerleaders.
Well, we're mostly females here in this group today. And in our little branch with 45 members, we're like 85% females. I don't know how we ever operated without them. They're the exciting new lifeblood of our Lions, at least in our experience. Wouldn't you agree, Lion Lori? You need to unmute. There you go. Almost. Try again.
Hopefully it worked this time.
There you go.
Okay, I was trying to, and it just wasn't cooperating. Yeah, actually, I kind of wanted to expound on something that Lion Jody had mentioned also about, reaching out to the members that you find, that you think might have an adverse opinion to you running for president. What I found in the past is it's really helpful is you pretty much know who those Lions are going to be. If you talk with them one-on-one, and sometimes it just, if you ask them for advice, just say, hey, I know you've been a member for a long time and I really want to get your opinion on something, or I'd like your advice on something, and kind of work into that conversation. You'll find out that a lot of times those Lions will end up being some of your staunchest supporters, but you got to approach it really carefully.
Lion Sam had his hand up at one point. I might have missed that.
Hey, Richard, I don't mean to interrupt, but I really would like to put this out on social media and see if we can get some more people involved. Would you do your famous, let us take a picture moment for us and get everyone, give me a second here, get everyone smiling and everything. And I will see if we can get some more people in. So you get us going. Barry, if you want to just have your picture in, if you want to turn on your video, we will have Richard do his thing and I'll get a picture of us all.
Okay, if we're all ready, look at your camera. There you go, Sam.
Here comes
Make
Barry.
up.
Hold on.
Are we all
Excellent.
ready? I'm going to do it again because somebody may have been blinking. Here we go. There you go. Okay, let me get this photo for you.
Richard, I got the picture. Richard, there goes our man. Richard, I got a picture, so you don't need, you just focus on this. I'm gonna take care of getting this posted and I'll be right back with y'all.
Thank you. Lion Melissa.
You're muted. There you go.
We just realised we didn't actually go back to Sam. So you Lisa, but we forgot to go back to Sam.
Thank you.
I apologize, Sam.
Did you notice that? It's all right. I was staying quiet. It's okay. My sponsor that actually invited me to the club has now since left to go on to bigger and better things. And I did have a good relationship with quite a few of the older generation of our club. Be careful how I phrase that. And, you know, it's been tricky because some of the ideas I've come in with, and because I act on them before, because being self-employed, I'm very forward in how I do things and just get things done. I've had to learn and develop my skills of just sitting back and talking to the club and taking on board other people's opinions. And I think whilst I've been going through that, people have found difficulties with me because I move fast and I move forward too quickly. So, you know, that, yes, there is people I can talk to in the club. The president that actually is president at the moment joined the same month as I did as well. So we're both in the same sort of level of knowledge as well, which is about 5 or 6 years now. So fairly new when you think of it, in the grand scheme of
No,
things.
that's all right.
Yeah. But also we've got a first vice, second vice, and a third vice, even with such a small club.
Wow.
But the lady that I know is going to be running for president, or I think will be, she went and left the club for a year because she went and did a term for the town council as chair of the town council. So she's now come back because she was first vice before she left. She wants to kind of do the president role now. And it's like, okay, I understand that fully. So I think I'm going to have to take another backseat for another year whilst she then steps up again. Or like you said, maybe we've just got to talk to each other and see where the club is best to go. You know, that's the main thing,
Is it taking a back seat when you say, for example, let me partner with you and be the service chair or the membership chair, and then you just kick that in the rear and make it huge?
When you say the membership chair, the service chair and stuff like that, the people that have been doing that role have been doing that role for 4 or 5 years now.
I'm for Jane.
Yeah. It's easy said in a big club. It's easy said in a big club, but in the smaller clubs, it is kind of like, well, you know, the treasurer we've had for 10 years now. He leaves at the end of this term. So we've had to find a new treasurer for this year. There was 2 people going for that position because one said, I'll do it because nobody else wants it. But then because that person then stood up, another person's come forward and said, actually, I'll be happy to take it on as well. So now there's a fight there, or not a fight, but there's a rally there. But one person actually now dropped out because they're like, well, we don't want the arguments. You can have it. I was only doing it because nobody else wanted to do it.
That's right.
It's a lot smaller clubs.
Yeah, but Sam, you get, and I understand that this is kind of particularly British problems, but it's also American too, and everywhere else in the world for that matter. We all have to hash through these things to figure out who really has the fire in their belly to do the job. And that's what we really need, is we really just want effective people in these positions. And, as far as I'm concerned, and I think that the most important position in Lions is club president, because you're the captain of that ship, and you have a lot of leeway and capacity to do a lot of things that are great, but it takes a lot of buy-in, and you have to build this team carefully so that you have good support and you're not just doing it all by yourself, because that's the road to perdition. Nobody has any fun when that's the case.
Lion Beatrice, I'm anxious to hear your beautiful accent. Please share some thoughts with us.
Hi, I'm Lion Beatrice from Castries Lion, St. Lucia, West Indies. It's amazing that we have pretty much the same issues that you have in Canada, the US, and the British Islands. One of the difficulties we have in our club, our membership is 40. We have difficulty with persons wanting to take up the positions of president. And that is the difficulty for us. But sometimes we have what we call them recycle, because we have persons doing it over and over and over. And one of the things we've noticed just recent in the last, let's say, 2 years or so, some of the recycled presidents have said, okay, I'm taking a back seat. So somebody has to do it. And we're embarking on a strategic planning process, and that is district wide, coming from Lands International forward. So we have 60B forward, and all clubs are doing it. Like I say, my club, your way. We're developing that strategic plan, and hopefully that will help us. Well, us in our club, one of the two strategic focuses was membership and leadership development. So we're trying to hold workshops so that we can get persons to take up the positions. But we will normally have a president and 2 vice presidents, and we try to train them so they can go up. But so our training will begin like this January. We want to start our leadership training to prepare them to take on the role. And we would be reviewing the plan in January after the first 6 months so that we can know what we can add on or subtract and let the president move on with it.
Thank you.
Thank
Lion
you.
Eleanor, do you have any thoughts? Lion Eleanor.
Thoughts. I have lots of thoughts. My club is in Ontario, Canada. It's a very small club with 14 members, half of whom do not have computers. They range in age from 84 to 22. And the 22-year-old is a brand new Lion and has stepped into the role of first vice president. The sitting president is in his first year of the presidency, and he's in his upper 60s in very poor health. And I'm just listening to all of this, wondering how we're going to go forward.
Lion Richard. So I have just a comment and suggestion for Lion Beatrice. So what you have described about a club not having the individuals who are interested in actually stepping up to take the position. They love being Lions. They love being a member of the club, but they are not necessarily wanting to have the responsibility of leading the club. There is the same problem that districts are also experiencing with their cabinets and getting people to run for cabinet position. So I was just on a combined meeting of several clubs last night, and our first vice district governor is traveling around the district and desperately trying to find people to sign up for a cabinet. So I came up with a way that you could actually, entice people to potentially do this. And it's a very simple process. Try it at your next club meeting. You ask a series of questions. The first question is, do you love being a Lion? Please raise your hand if you love being a Lion. So everybody raise on the call, just raise your hand. If you love being a Lion, raise your hand. Do you think that the leadership of either the district or your club is necessary for the survival of this club? Raise your hand. And everybody's hand goes up. Well, now, since you all think that it is necessary for the survival of this club and that you love being a Lion, now who is going to step up to ensure that this club and Lionism exist? 1, 2, 3. Because if they answer yes to the first 2 questions, by the time you ask the third question, they are either admitting that they don't love being a Lion, or they're not willing to help the club, continue. So it's a little bit of a gotcha type question. But when you put it in those terms, I think everybody who loves being a Lion will suddenly realize and maybe reassess the need to step up in order to be a president or a zone chair, or even run for a district governor.
I just want to add to that. I think a lot of the fear is also, we ask people to serve, but we don't give them the parameters. What does it mean to serve? I mean, if I take on the role as president, do I expect to put in 40 hours a week? Are we talking about 4 to 8 hours a month? What exactly what are the expectations of what it's going to be? And I think that takes a lot of the fear away and gets people, with Daniel's questions, if people have an understanding of what the role really is and what it really takes to be successful, I think then when you ask those questions, it's a lot easier to get people to step up. Because we find that with presidents, we find it with zone chairs, we find it with district governor candidates, and it's something that we fall down on because we say, oh, we've got all these materials that tell you what you got to do, but we never really give them what it means to be president in our own club. In my club, it might take 10 hours a week, and some weeks it might be 15. In your club, it might be 2 hours a week. It all is varied, like Daniel said, by your club, your way. And so defining that and having everyone understand what those expectations are, I think helps with filling those roles as well.
We just did a survey in the Lions, Global Lions Forum about why would you not run for district governor? And what was interesting is that the reasons were loud, but in some cases they weren't. They were disputed by people who had been district governors. So there's a lot of misinformation out there on what the reasons are for not doing it. I think in clubs, it's less so because they're so visible. Everybody knows who their club president is. Not everybody necessarily knows who their district governor is. I'll share with you for a second my club. My club's been around for 75 years. The average age is 76 years of age. I joined 7 years ago. And as a new guy, I couldn't step up to do positions. And we've had presidents who are now going through for their third time. So I started a branch and we built the branch into 45 members. And now I'm accepted and I'm now available to step into a presidential role in the club. And we're hoping to take that branch. And by the way, we're larger than the club is now, and mostly women, by the way, too, and roll that back into the club and make one club out of it again with the new members, mostly female, mostly working age, stepping into the leadership roles. And that's what we're struggling with now, as to how to put together a platform of the various new members being new to the club and stepping into directorship roles and maybe second vice president and maybe secretary treasurer, those kinds of things. So every one of our clubs is different, but a lot of it involves diplomacy and flexibility and politics, which are skills that I didn't necessarily learn in the business world, but I'm having to perfect now. So Lion Humeira, I apologize. Please share with me how I should pronounce your name. Please share your thoughts. You're muted right now. You're still muted.
The mute is actually off. For some reason, the audio is not coming through, though.
Well, why don't we come back to you? Let's
Hey,
see.
Richard, before you jump forward, I just think, could you take a second and give kind of an overview of what we're doing? We've had a lot of people join us in the last minute or so since we went out on Facebook with a reminder. And if you could just give them an overview of what we're doing so they can participate, that would be fantastic.
We're having a chat about what it means to be president, why you might like to be one, and maybe any questions you have about what it's like to be one and what skills you need to prepare to become one. So it's whatever you'd like to ask about club presidencies. Good
and
enough?
Last thing, and then I'll be quiet. I swear to God, until you call him. Well, I shouldn't lie. Those of you who know me know that's probably a lie, that I'll be quiet. But Melissa Murphy posed a really awesome question in the chat window about whether the presence of COVID means that the president needs different skills at the moment. So that might be something we want to add to our list of conversations.
Yeah, my point was really, I don't know whether it would apply to Lisa or Sam, that obviously, you know, if you're maybe a younger first vice, then actually you stepping forward at this present time is more beneficial for the club. If you're, and if well, I can't say the word, if you've got fresh ideas and you're thinking of new ways to serve in the situation, then that's what your club needs.
I think that's an excellent point. When we needed to meet online, I was the one person in the club who knew how to do Zoom, and I didn't know it any better than anybody else, but I was just willing to try it, and I had help from Jody and Charlie and Daniel. So that skill set brought me a great deal of visibility, and people were relying upon me in ways that they hadn't had to do before. So that's social media is clearly another one of those issues. Your e-clubhouse, My Lion, My LCI, all of those skill sets are things that are, I don't think our club's prepared for those things before. I was just talking to our district GLT yesterday about the fact that we have secretaries who don't know how to operate computers and spreadsheets. And those are skill sets that are important. Thank you, Melissa. Great idea. There was a question from, let's see, it went by really quick. Lisa G. What advice would you all give as to the best way, oh, it moved, to prepare to be president? If I was asked that question, I'd say learning every one of the positions in the club, and you don't have to do the job to learn the job. There's Lions University, there's online courses, there's the Global Lions Forum, there's Lions Virtual, and you can become an assistant and help them out. And so I feel confident that when I step into the presidential role, I know how Treasury works. I know how Secretary works. I know how to recruit, and I know how to serve and set up service projects and manage them. So the only thing I haven't done is run actual meetings themselves. So that's my advice. Charlie?
Well, that pretty much tracks my experience, but instead of concentrating on all of the jobs, I did the ones that I thought I could make the best effect at. And then we went ahead and moved through to, do you want to be club president in a year or two? And our club has a nominating committee as to how we approach this. And that is usually members of our club's board, and they approach potentially interesting people to do these jobs, but we're always open to nominations from the floor as well. I took over the club's fruit sale, which had been the tar baby of everything for years, because it made all the money for the club, but nobody wanted to do it. And I had a great time with it. I had a lot of fun with it, and that kind of helped make my reputation within the club, so they could trust me and knew I was committed. Eleanor had a really good comment about what do we do with a small club where we're all retreading our leadership and we're starting to run out of gas. There's a lot of clubs in this position, Eleanor, believe me, all across North America and around the world. It's a really common problem. I think that you can recruit your way out of it over a period of time, but if you're in a really small community, it's a tough nut to crack. And I feel your pain, because we have terrific clubs all over Indiana that do tremendous work, but they just have such a trouble getting things going. That's a great question, and I think the American people and the world need an answer.
Lion Melissa had a comment that she typed that I think is worthy of vocalizing.
Sorry, Richard, I've put a few in there now. So which one are you on about?
That being president means being the biggest cheerleader in the club and being the best communicator in the club.
Yeah.
I would say that is your starting point of your year. You've got to sort of lay down that positivity. You've got to be that cheerleader, especially at this time when you've had to cancel everything you're used to. You've got to say, actually, guys, we can do this. We're just going to do it in a new way,
Yep.
and really push that positivity. Because there's still clubs in my district are just so depressed and hanging on to these big fundraisers with the big crowds. And they've got to let it go. They've got to let it go and think on a completely different scale. If you touch one life with service, that's something to celebrate.
I will say this, a lot of American clubs have been very Yankee ingenuity about drive-through and drive-in systems. Now we're as well-to-do our cars as any outfit in the world, but the drive-through, drive-up, pick-up window kind of thing has really saved a number of our club's fundraisers for the year.
And I wanted, if possible, to make a point on how you're looking at the club where you've got the same people are doing the position over and over again, and how do you bring someone in who would be willing to do that position? And it also ties into the concept of what skills do you need? I think that we as clubs need to recognize that there are people out there in their everyday jobs and professions who have skills that are easily transferable. I think Lion Sam is a perfect example of that. So the question, how many pancakes do you have to flip in order to be qualified to be a Lions Club president? 0 is the answer. Just take me, for example, I'm someone who comes from a background of community development work. My entire life has been spent on building community and doing service. So how many years do I need to wait in order to be considered ready for a leadership position? Is there some magical number? So if you're dealing with a club that has people going over and over, sit down and talk to the club and say, maybe it's time we look outside the club to recruit someone as a brand new Lion who might be interested in the professional and personal development opportunity of the chance of leading a club as a volunteer person. Look for a young professional who might be willing to come in and literally say, we are, giving you an opportunity where we will support you in this. Consider joining us to help run this for a year. And it's a most people would probably call me crazy to say to go out and recruit a brand new Lion and to have that Lion be the president of your club, as soon as they come in and be a Lion. But if it's someone who has personal or professional experience in community development, and if your club is the type of club that has been doing the same thing for the last 50 years, it is the definition of insanity to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. So sometimes, maybe, just maybe, we have to shake it up and bring in someone who's a brand fresh new face and give the reins to them and support them and see what happens.
Lion Beatrice.
One of the strategies we did as a club when we realized we were recycling, we realized that we had to look, as Lion Daniel said, about the skills. So we developed a skills bank of all our Lions. And so we can look through and see, and the nominations committee, just like Lion Charles, would go through the skills bank and determine the persons for the different positions and recommend to the board. So our nominations committee is separate from our board, and they would go for the skills bank. And we've recently recruited 10 members in October and 11 on the 30th of December. So we recruited 21 members recently. And one of the things we do, I'm part of the membership team, and one of the things we do as a team is we ask them before they join, before we induct them, to identify a service project that they could do as a team, and then we help them implement that. So they come into service, and also we put them into a skills bank.
There is in my LCI, when you join a new Lion, a place where you can put the industry that they're coming from. And so when we were doing our peace poster recently, I went through the multiple district and sorted out everyone who was in the education field to see who we might look for a peace poster candidates. You can also find, I think, finance or accounting and some other things. It's not perfect, but it's an easy place to just jump in and look for somebody real quick. But Beatrice, Lion Beatrice, I think you're absolutely right. Let's find out what skills people brings and what desires they bring. After 25 years in banking and finance, I did not want to be the treasurer. I wanted to be in recruiting and service. So knowing my background, but knowing my desires was also equally helpful. I can help a treasurer, I just don't want to be one. Lion Barry, did you have any thoughts? Lion Lori.
Yep. Actually, I was looking at the chat and there was a question about as some of the things you should not do if you're going to be president or if you are president. And I did have one thing. To me, I think it's one of the most important things, and that's to not push your own agenda on everybody and have the attitude of it's my way or the highway, because Lions are real good at getting on that highway and traveling on to another club.
Yep.
And that's some of the things we've been finding in our district, that members are transferring between clubs. And a lot of times when you talk to them, the reason is because, the leadership in my club won't listen to me, or they don't, we have to do everything their way. And that's the quickest way for a club to just disappear.
So
Lion
servant leader should be your operating byword on any leadership position in this association, is that you're there to serve the club. It's not about your ego. It's about making the club a better thing. Now, obviously, if you have a vision, share that vision with your club and work with them to help make it their vision as well. But you are the servant. You are elected to serve that club. Not above you, not beneath you, but always with you, unless I'm club president, and then you have to call me king. So as a side note, on the discussion of presidents, flying in the face of tradition, when you do become club president, drop the royalty stuff. Let's remove the king lion, and you are just lion this. And that's just my personal preference, but I've always thought it was weird, especially when it's a woman, and that your district insists that you call them king lion, because that's the tradition. So just servant leadership and answer to what you're doing, because it's true. Presidents can drive people away from the club just like that, because they're demanding that people follow their vision and not helping create a club vision.
Question along those lines. We have seen clubs, at least in our district, that are in need of being turned around. And they have a few members and they need to do things differently, or they're not going to have any members. And in that case, at some point, you need to start laying out a plan that might not be as attractive to all the old fellows. Mostly they're fellows. And I wonder what you think about the best way to approach that.
I'm going to step in here if you don't mind and give you my suggestion on that. I'm in the GLT for our district. I'm also a two-time past district governor. When a club gets to that point, then it is very imperative that they reach out to the district and get a hold of one of the representatives that have gone through the training to be a guiding lion. And then the district governor has to appoint the correct guiding lion to help that club. And it's supposedly mainly to go in and help the club, not take over the club or give them direction on which way they should or should not go, but just to go in and help mentor them and guide them. A lot of clubs don't reach out in time to the district governor for help, and they all of a sudden disappear from our books. So it's imperative for the district leadership to know who those clubs that are struggling are and reach out to them if they're not reaching out to you. So, and I agree, a lot of clubs fail because of their president not being the right person to lead and go forward. So with that, thank you.
I just want to jump in. I want to jump in quick before we go on beyond the certified guiding lion, because I put something that comments about this. That program was created to be we train consultants basically to come in and help your club. We're starting to look at that in a slightly new way. And that is, if we find people in clubs who can help themselves with the proper training and with little information, especially as you're looking to come into club president, going through that certified guiding lion program doesn't mean you have to go out and support another club. It's really an educational program you do on your own time and do it online, or if you're multiple district or district offers it, and it opens your eyes to all the resources and what Lionism on a whole is about, so you can pick and choose to bring it to your own club. And I think it's really an underused piece of how, when we're looking at what your next step, and if you want to step up to a leadership role, having that base understanding of the association as a whole and what's available to you is a huge missing piece for many people.
And I just completed that course last year, and I'm taking it again this year in conjunction with a recruit that I just recruited 6 months ago, who's going to become the president of our branch here in another 3 months. And we're going through it together as part of the Lions Mentorship Program. And it's Winster Ceballos is teaching it. It's a great program for exactly the reason you said, whether or not you want to become a guiding lion. It teaches you all of the pieces that you need. So thank you for that. Lion Rosemarie, you've been patiently waiting. Share something. I like dropping
Hi.
people's names quickly before they have a chance to unmute themselves, and then we can all look at them impatiently, waiting for them to unmute themselves. I apologize, Rosemarie.
Thank you, Lion Richard. No, I just want to add that, like what we are doing in Arizona, our past district governors association have taken it upon themselves to reach out, or to help all those struggling clubs. So if you are a club that needs help, you can just call on them and they will be able to assist you and have a past district governor to go into your club and, like you say, mentor them back, back to good health again. And like Lion Jody mentioned, like guiding lines, it doesn't have to be that you're going out. It's like maybe, how do you call this, retraining people, everybody in your club, to know what their responsibility, or like making them become passionate again, finding out what they are, why they came to this organization in the first place. So it's going back to be able to come back again.
And I have the pleasure of having Rosemarie as one of my mentors, and there's no one more passionate than Lion Rosemarie. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And I know I have to call you. I have something that I need to ask you, okay? So don't.
Okay, perfect. Lion Julian, welcome. Have you been listening, and do you have any comments?
Yes, I've been listening. I hope you can hear me. Basically, our fundamental problem is in our clubs, there's not a whole lot of mentoring. Mentoring is very important so that the lion would realize what they're involved in and they can move up. Also, another thing that happens with presidents, I hope we have presidents that are on or incoming presidents, is that Lions Clubs International is annual election. So if you have a first, second, and third vice president, they will be learning as they go to the top. And a president does not have to stay around for 10, 12 years. 1 year, 2 years maximum. And also the president would say, I did not get a chance to finish my project. It is not your project, it's the club's project. And if you share it with all the members, they all will be equally able to fulfill the requirements of the club. That's my little piece. And Richard?
It's always a pleasure to hear what you have to say, Lion Julian, but normally I see it in writing. It's a pleasure to hear your voice. Thank you for contributing.
Thank
Lion
you very
Jody,
much.
You're giggling. You're giggling. You're in agreement. You're in heated agreement with Lion Julian. I see we have 5 minutes left, and I always get in trouble mispronouncing Lion Gila's name. Gala's name.
I've even written it there. It says pronounced Gala. Come on, Richard.
What can I say? I
Right, so
have
at Faculty Development Institute,
Please
I
report
divided-
for the spanking, Richard.
Sorry? Yeah, so Lexi's going to come and get you. I just wanted to quickly add, when I was incoming Leo president, I stood in a 5-way election for the position of vice president, and one person, we went all the way through and I won in the end. And there was a very valuable lesson for me. The person who lost against me was very bitter. And they came to me and they said, remember, I will be watching you the whole year. And I used that as my motivation, because if I could win them over, then I got everybody else. When I became district governor, again, there was an election for second vice, and a number of past district governors came. So for those who don't know me, I walk around with a multicolored lion called Lexi, and I do things a little differently. And they said to me, there's a lot riding on your shoulders. We're expecting you to do everything differently. My comment to them was, I have 12 months. That's all I am, is a cog in our case, a 64-year-old wheel. So I'd already started to move that cog in, and that was the advantage of being second vice and first vice. Not everybody has that. A tip for those of you wanting to be presidents, people will put you in the position, and the first thing they do is they start to shoot you down. So you need to have really tough skin. If you have a lot of naysayers, get one or two of them onto your board. Get them doing their favorite project. Because if you win the big mouths over who are against you, the rest of your year is easy. So that's my 5 cents.
And I would say the bombs are right on target there, Gayla. Thank you. That was pretty good.
And Charles can say my name. So Richard, get it right. You're going to practice till Sunday morning. Gayla, Gayla. Whenever you walk around, Gayla. Okay.
Gayla.
So ask faculty development. They can do it. You can do it.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I did want
apples.
I did want to kick something in kind of on top of that, was that you know, a lot of people stumble on meeting management issues. I put up the link for that in the chat. There's a nice little class in the Lions Learning Center about how to run effective meetings and how to trim out some of the nonsense. But the other thing, I think that anybody that's aspiring to be club president, I mean, you want to do a really good job, or you should want to anyhow. And one of the great tools I had was the what we used to call 100% President, or is now Club President Excellence Award. That if you do that, if you use that as your guide for what's going on in your club, it's really a blueprint for success. It's hard to mess it up when you have that kind of a guidance for what achievements your club should be doing. I wish we had a little more time to talk about the recruiting side of this, because I think that is absolutely vital. But I do think that that may be a topic for another day.
We have just a couple of minutes. I would like to ask everyone to maybe think for a second and tell us what you thought about this format, this platform, what we might do differently, what we might do in addition. Is this something we might want to do every Friday at this hour? Are there other subjects? Give us a little feedback so we can learn from this exercise. And you can type it in if you'd like, or you can post it on the Global Lions Forum later today if you like. Anything to make us smarter. Lion Julian, you did have your hand up, and I apologize. I interrupted you earlier.
I think you got him, Richard. Can I just say something quick before we wrap this up? Sam has asked us if we can start a new Zoom and keep it going for a few minutes. So this Zoom doesn't need to end right at 3 o'clock or whatever time your local, top of the hour, we'll call it, whatever your local time it is. So we can, some of us can hang around if you can hang around and want to continue the discussion. I think there's some specific questions, especially from some of you who are up and coming, that we may want to get in the chat so that Richard can bring them out to everybody, because we've got now 20 people on the call right now. The last thing I wanted to add is this is such a gift, and thank you again, Richard. I think that it's an awesome opportunity for us to keep this going. The conversations in GLF are always there, but actually getting to see people and communicate like this is a true gift. And then I'm going to say, and I'm going to put in a little plug, besides GLF, we have a weekly party, virtual party for Lions from across the globe. And many of us that are on this call are actually there's Gayla with the whole thing. She's drinking her wine right now. So we have a weekly party, and I put the invite in the chat the chat window for all of you. You're always welcome to join us at the Burmester Virtual Bar. We have conversations similar to this on specific topics. and it helps you connect with Lions from across the globe and make Lions real, and the fact that we are global so real, just like this conversation does. So with that, Richard, I'll stop talking again.
Jody, just before you stop talking, what time zone's that in?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. It is actually the Central Standard Time, so it's Chicago time. And
Okay,
it's from
thank you.
5 to 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So for Gala, that's like the middle of the night, and for others, it's the middle of the night. But it is truly a unique experience that we happen to stumble upon and been able to build upon these last 10 months or so.
It's 6 o'clock for Toronto, and Lion Richard, I did get to speak, and I will be happy to join you on the Fridays as long as I'm not gainfully employed somewhere else.
Wonderful. So we have come to the end of our hour. If people would like to leave, please feel free. If you'd like to stick around and continue chatting for another 30 minutes, we'll stick around and see where it takes us. No one's leaving.
No,
So-
that's it. You're stuck. You're stuck with us. I just want to say the symposium we went on when I joined Lions, it was amazing. It was the first one in the UK, and it gave you such an insight to Lions across the world. I really highly recommend it to any new Lion or even existing Lion that doesn't know as much that goes on in other countries, or the backbone to the club, really, or the society, how it works as you go up the ladder. It was really informative. And I think at a grassroots level, most of my club members don't know that. Most of the members in the club wouldn't know the backbone that takes you all the way up to the HQ. And I tried to take back as much as I could to share with the club, but it's just so overwhelming because you will separate into tables, you will do little activities and stuff, and you talk. And I think that was one of the best things about Lions when I joined first off that I took part in, which gave me the drive to keep going and go for the president and everything else that I might do further along.
So, Lion Sam, unfortunately, your multiple district is the only one smart enough to do that. It is unique to the British Isles at the moment, thanks to PID Phil. And so I just myself attended helping them turn it virtual this last one. And what I walked away from that was thinking that every multiple district, on the planet needs to be doing something similar. And it's so funny because you speak of the devil and he arises. So literally,
I've just been talking to him on WhatsApp and
okay. That is truly impressive, sir. It was almost like you were summoned. Welcome, PID Phil, to the conversation. We were just hearing Lion Sam talk about the amazing experience at Symposium, and he was recommending to all of the other Lions around the world that they attend the Symposium. And I was just informing him that unfortunately the Multiple District 105 is the only multiple district smart enough to have that, thanks to someone by the name of Phil Nathan. And quite literally at that moment you logged in. So welcome to the conversation, sir. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you. Lion Phil, or I'm sorry, District Governor Phil, please give us a few words of wisdom.
This District Governor, my God, that's a long time ago. You calling me District Governor makes me go sociable. So, how can I make you feel good? I was District Governor in 1995.
I apologize.
I was Council Chairman in 96. I was International Director in 99. Back on the board in 2003, and I've drunk as much red wine as I can since. I'm very, very busy. I've looked after all of the Central East European countries. Jody will tell you, I keep pretty busy. Good to see you all. I can see a lot of you from Saturday evening.
Yeah, we hang around at the bar.
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't been to a Burmester Virtual Bar yet, it is an experience. And if you can only make one, try. It is truly an experience. And Sam, before I mute myself again, who was that beautiful young woman in your lap?
That was Zoe, and yeah, she is beautiful, isn't she?
How's the garden coming on, Sam?
How's the what coming along? Sorry, Phil.
The garden.
The garden.
He does a fantastic thing. The school, he does a fantastic thing in the woods for kids. Getting them out there, seeing the real world. Amazing job.
Thanks, Phil. I was going to say, it's not really a garden, it's a kind of a woodland. But yeah, no, it's going really well. Obviously, at the moment, with all the restrictions and everything, I'm only running special support groups with people with not Alzheimer's. Oh my goodness, I've got a filter head right now. But I'm only running special support groups.
So we've kind of covered the topic of elections and why do you want to run to be president? The other three topics we had were meetings, running meetings, service, and recruiting. Perhaps someone would like to choose one of those three to give us a few minutes to chat about and ask questions about. Who's going to be running for president this year? I'm one. Lion Sam. What's your biggest concern going forward once you become president?
To me, it's getting all the lions online and talking to each other, because we've slacked so much in meetings. You know, there's at least 8 of my members I have not seen over the last year nearly. The really isolated ones who live down country lanes and stuff, I've actually made an effort and gone and seen and socially distanced with them in the garden just to sit down and have a cup of tea. But there's still about 8 I probably wouldn't have seen for a year now, because the club hasn't got behind Zoom meetings, sadly.
You know,
one thing I'm working on right now is trying to get the MyLCI database up to date and get all the emails correct and cell phones correct. Because as with the passage of time, these things get out of date. We have Lions who don't have emails, or maybe have them now, but didn't have them when they joined. Trying to do exactly what you're talking about is to get to connect with everybody. Whose hand did I see? Lion Jody.
Sam, I just wanted to follow up on that. We've really struggled and really worked hard, just like you are, to try and get our members to adapt to online. And I'm going to use the party idea again. An online virtual social has a whole different connotation to any generation, that they want to reconnect with people because they're so disconnected. So if you ask them to join and hang out for a social event, they may be more willing to figure out this whole get online, get on Zoom thing. And then if you work with them one-on-one in advance of the event and test it out with them and help them feel comfortable, it's been very successful for us in our club, our district, and then obviously with the Lions virtual, or with the Burmester virtual bar.
Yeah, I've done similar things with mine, very much so.
No, I spent 45 minutes on the telephone to one member and she loved it. By the time we got online, she was like, this is amazing, this is great. And now I know she uses it to talk to her grandchildren. So, you know, that was brilliant.
I think Barry had a comment. Barry, your camera is a little bit high, so you're kind of doing, there you are.
There I am.
You're kind of doing a Kilroy there.
Sorry, I missed your first cue there, Lion Richard. I wasn't quick enough on that button. I wanted to take it back a little bit to the running for president, being president discussion that we were all having. I had the opportunity, not because I wanted to, but because it just happened that I was following in my wife's career, and we moved several times, that I've been a member of 3 different clubs now over the last 12 years. And each one of these clubs has had different challenges. So when you say your club, your way, it certainly is. I think that's the way you got to look at it as an incoming president to a club. The first one actually was my second year in Lionism, and nobody wanted to run for president. Has anybody heard that before? And so I was elected for in my second year to be the president of the club. And I went through the motions basically that I thought I saw during the first year. So we really didn't do a whole lot or have any great success, but we got through the year. And then the second year I thought, well, maybe I should be try some different things, be a little more energetic about this whole thing. And I think we to a certain degree, and we did the what's it called now? The CQI now it's called. What was it called before? CEP. And that was a wonderful thing to do because it kind of got everybody talking about the club and the direction the club should go in and the things we should be doing.
Barry, do you remember what those acronyms stand for? Because not everyone knows what CQI was. I got it if you don't.
The Club Excellence Program, it was called the CEP back in the day. And then now I guess it's CQI, Club Quality Initiative, I believe.
Right.
Many acronyms in Lionism, by the way. And it's where you have somebody, a guiding lion, come into your club and help you go through the process of how your club is running and things you should be doing and that sort of thing. At the end of our CEP at the time, we ended up losing one of our longest serving members, but he was a very negative person and he didn't want to make the changes to going in a different direction with the club. And it turned out to be one of the best things that could have ever happened to that club. We just headed off in a different direction after that. So, and then the next two clubs after that had their own special issues as well. So we had to go at things differently. Right now, the club I'm in, we had 4 members left. The only thing they did was a bingo once a week where they raised lots of money. They raised about $50,000 a year for these 4 seniors. But if you walked in the bingo, you never saw a lion sign in the whole place and it was never mentioned the whole night. So they weren't really operating as a Lions club. So again, it's a whole different scenario than the first club I was in. So it's, I think my recommendation for somebody going into the presidency would be to try and go in a different direction. Try and be a little bit of an Energizer bunny if you can, because that gets people's attention. And then if there's something you can do that's successful, success breeds on success, right? So that gets you rolling in the right direction. So that's my take.
Thank you. Lion Julian, your hand is up.
Yes. What I would like to say is that if we will do this weekly, monthly, or whenever, it would be nice for us to have more of the persons that are coming into these positions as presidents and club secretaries and things. As it is now, I can look and I notice we've got lots of Lion leaders. We've got Lion leaders. We need also the persons that are going to be coming into these positions. I know, like yourself, Lion Richard, you said you're becoming a president this year. We need more persons that are going to be stepping up. Also, as we're in this type of virtual reality for meetings and gatherings and whatever, I would like to suggest that whenever we have one of these things, not this particular, but for clubs, the breakout rooms makes a big difference for a virtual meeting that will last for an hour, hour and a half. Why? Because you get persons discussing things away from the general audience, and you can have 4 of those. So basically, I tried that with one of our groups that were a little bit antsy about holding a virtual meeting for an hour, hour and a half. And the first time we did the breakout room, they were so happy that they were clamoring for it the next time. So we have to work on these type of things. I know very well we're in this setup for a while now, because I can remember with my LCIP group, I held one of these meetings way back. And from that, it broke out into many, many aspects. Daniel runs stuff, Jody runs stuff, Charles does stuff, and so on and so forth. So I think there is promise, but we need to get some of the persons that really need this. You know, some persons say you're preaching to the choir. That's my little take. Thank you.
Thank you. Our plan, this was our first event, and we weren't sure how this was going to go. This came out as a result of a number of people on the Global Lions Forum talking about presidency. So we just thought we'd put it together. We were going to have breakout rooms initially, but we said if it's less than 20, we'll just do it as a group. So thank you, Lion Julian. We're on board with that. I think the key is we did in our district a couple of years ago, a new Lion orientation meeting, and we had 50 people there, and not one person had other than white hair on top of their head, and every single one had been a Lion for 25 years. We didn't have a single new Lion in the group. So the key is attracting the new people in, and so that they can learn something. Now, Lion Umeira, are you ready to speak yet? Have you got your microphone on?
Before we test her.
Not today. But there was a comment from you, and I believe Jody made a comment as well, or Charlie made a comment about what she posted. Perhaps you could share that.
1 second before that, before you go on to that, breakout rooms are not automatically enabled on any Zoom account in the meetings. So all Zoom accounts, free or otherwise, it is an option for you. I just put in the chat room the link from Zoom on how to enable breakout rooms on your own account. So once you turn them on, it's on forever, but you have to turn it on yourself. Same with polling. As long as you're in there, when you find the breakout room piece, you will find the polling set as well.
Okay. I'm sorry, Charlie, or somebody had made a comment about something that Lion Umeira had posted.
Lion Richard.
Yes.
I have a question. For this one session right now, was it posted anywhere? Because I just happened to look at my phone in Facebook, and that's how I found it, but I didn't know beforehand. So I was just wondering if, if this notice was sent like to our district that there's something going on. So maybe, we might have some members that would have attended it. Because me, I didn't know about it. I just, I think this is nice,
We had it in the Global Lions Forum, Lions Virtual, and 21S. And if you would like to chat with me later, I'd be happy to answer the rest of that question.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lion Gala.
He got it right. Sociable. Just to add to the other comment that was made, I came through the ranks as a Leo and became a Lion. And the big difference I see is that Leos are 100% honest and Lions aren't. And I mean that in the kindest way. Okay. Leos are very direct. If a president is not doing well, a member of the club, without discussing it, will take them aside and say, that was a crap meeting. This is why it was bad, and you need to change it. I'm happy to help you. They will extend the hand. If that doesn't work, the board will sit the president down. The Leo advisor will get involved. So within 2 or 3 meetings, that person knows, I need to pull my socks up or I will be removed. We in Lions, and I've seen it very often here in South Africa, we can't let that person go. They were a charter member. We can't let them go. They've been a Lion for 50 years. I, as a past district governor, 18 months ago, nearly left this organization because of a senior charter member Lion who was treating a brand new member and myself like slaves. And I've been around the block a few times, and I had to step back and I had to encourage the Lion who had been inducted 3 days before. And I've spoken to him, it hasn't registered. And I'm waiting to have a meeting with him to say, be very careful because you are losing members in your club. So a year ago, I transferred clubs because I could no longer be with that kind of negativity. But we're all too scared to do it. If we don't tell the person the error of their ways, they're never going to learn. The minute you then say to people, I left the club for that reason, 3, 4, 5 other people go, actually, that's why I left Lions. And that makes me really sad because we need to be honest. We owe it to that person as a leader to support them and to say, listen, you can't talk to Lions like that. I mean, this Lion said to a new member who went, and we were having a Christmas function for seniors, and she came and said, there are 2 ladies who are diabetic. Do we have anything for them to drink? And he said, we've never had this problem before. And I looked at her and I said, but we're testing everybody's sugar levels outside because that's one of our core projects. And he said, well, it's never been a problem before. I said, well, can we send somebody to get some Coke Zero? Oh, then we have to get for everyone. I said, well, then we do. And he was very upset. Now, if we preaching be diabetes aware, then you have to have stuff for them to drink. As I said, that member, fortunately, we could work with her that evening and get her encouraged and keep her away from him. But as far as I'm concerned, he needs to be told. And if he leaves, that's too bad. I've reached that point.
Lion Melissa.
Yeah, we've just had a member transfer to our club. I didn't know her that well, but I was in contact on Facebook with her. And her issue was that she was new. She was trying to bring forward ideas, things like social media and the importance of social media. And she kept hitting brick walls. And I noticed with conversations that she was starting to get really demoralized with Lions. And I sent her a private message and said, I understand, I know the issue, but please, there are alternatives for you. And very gently, I basically said, and my club would welcome your skills. My club would welcome you in. And straight away, she sort of said, well, I don't live in the area. You know, is that a problem? And it's like, well, at the moment, definitely not, because we're not meeting. But actually, you could serve where you live, and we will we'll put down your service hours. And she has blossomed. You know, the club has embraced her. There's chats on Facebook and people comment and celebrate things, and she's just a changed person. And I just feel like that's a lion we've saved, because, you know, I didn't want to step on the other club's toes, but, you know, I just felt actually we can't lose this person.
We have 5 Lions in a community an hour away who are members of our cyber branch, and their club was going to close. And they said, we don't want to stop being Lions, but we don't want to run a club anymore. And so they joined us, and they're the Lions of the month this month. They just got a $6,000 grant to find exams and glasses for people in their community, and they're visible and they're serving in their community. They just happen to belong to a club that's an hour away, and they have their own checking account, raise their own money, and everybody's happy. So geography is no longer an issue. It is in the minds of many, but in reality, it isn't. And Lion Daniel, I think there were 2 topics there that you have an interest in. Perhaps you have a thought to share.
Well, when it comes to the effectiveness of cyber clubs, it's actually PDG Charlie Short who opened my eyes with what he did with the Indiana Cyber Lions. And so I will defer to the expert on that. But using a cyber club, I personally think every single district needs a cyber club. And it can be a cyber branch club. So it can be a branch of your club to be able to do membership retention. But the person I learned all of that from is my mentor, PDG Charlie Short. So let me just pass it over to him, because he wrote the book, or he's writing the book on this.
We're writing it as we fly, basically. But no, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, I think online clubs and are a terrific tool to help not only build membership, but retain it. Richard and I started the GLF as the Cyber Lions group. And so, you know, if there's a brain trust, it's been him and me. But yeah, I think every district should seriously look at doing this. And it's part of the NAMI, GMI structure for the coming year. And it's really worth a good examination. We do have the Cyber Lions chat on the Lions virtual side, so you can view that at your leisure. You don't have to listen to me bumble all the way through it. But it has a lot of tips for recruiting and shows you why these things are great. Now, to go to Sam's point and to Melissa's point about online activity, this doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a computer expert to do it. Our club has WhatsApp now on a group that I set up based off a suggestion from Paul Curtis in New Zealand. And man, he's right. You can't get these people to shut up. They're on it at 2 a.m. and they're arguing about Purdue basketball. They're arguing about, you know, the football game. They're arguing about whatever it is. But I think
Charlie, who won that game last night between the Badgers and Indiana?
I wouldn't know because I wasn't watching. I was on another Lions show. So, but I think that, and in any event, I wouldn't care about who Indiana anyway. IU is a different planet. So, but I really think that just focusing on what's available on your phone in terms of what structure is there is great. Indiana is actually standardizing now to Google Workspace, formerly known as G Suite. So we will have a single electronic platform for all club activities and administration for the first time in 100 years. And we hope to go live on that by the end of the month. It's been a big project, but we're really working hard on it.
Lion Rosemarie, are we talking about a multiple district cyber club as a safety net for Lions who are leaving clubs and as an opportunity for recruiting? Just something to think about.
Yes.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, but you know, I just want to, I think, remind or like informing cyber clubs, because it should be 75% of the charter members should be from the district that they are formed, because I know there was a problem with, you know, that there was cyber club that's formed, but most of them, only 5% was from our district, which was not, you know, good. So we had LCI come in and, you know, had to straighten that one out.
Perhaps we could work on that. We're getting close to the next half an hour, and I think we should have one more question. I see a hand, and then perhaps we can call it a day for today. Lion Sam, your hand is up.
It was just a case on the cyber club topic. I've actually been asked by the DG in SW to look into starting a cyber club for our district. I know CW have got their cyber club all up and running and everything in 105, and we've been asked to have a look at the same. The thing is, I like being a part of the community and being a part of my town's club, but then I also like the idea of, hang on a minute, the freedom that the cyber club would give me just to get on and do things and work with people that are not necessarily on my doorstep, but we're all acting towards the same goal of service. So it's a bit of a, you know, it's a gray area, and obviously a lot of thought has to be put into it if it's the right thing for you, because, you know, I like meeting in person, I like meeting other people, and, you know, but maybe it is time for our district to have a cyber club, and if I can take it forward, it would be fantastic. But we'll see what the future brings, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, actually, if I could recommend a thought on this, is not just making it into a district club, but do it as a zone level club or a county level club. Keep it even closer, because Indiana Cyber tends to support the activities of 6 or 8 different clubs, because that's the clubs they live closest to. And then those clubs go over and help Cyber Club on mask sales and other items like that. So I would keep it a little bit more granular than that, but it is but you'll gain 50% of your membership as brand new Lions, and the other 50% will be people that were unhappy or unappreciated in their old clubs. Now, we have had Cyber Club members that joined the cyber club turn around and join a local traditional club too. Once they got acclimated and understood what was going on, they're trying it, okay? But a lot of the people that we had join Indiana Cyber would never in their lives have joined a traditional Lions club in a million years. It is a different market. That's
well, I also think Daniel hit on something that's vitally important that we haven't really talked about much, at least at GLF or Lions Virtual, or at any level that I'm involved with. And that's the fact that what a great retention tool, or to bring drop members back in, because they left their club for whatever reason. Most often it's conflict of some sort or another. They're not serving the way they want to. A cyber club allows them to have that opportunity to come back, maintain their membership, and still make a difference. And I think that's something that we need as a whole need to explore more of, because I think that's a huge piece. Sending that invite back to them and inviting them back in one-on-one is huge.
Yeah, there's an interesting question from Jamie Harper about having Lions being permitted to be officers in one of each. Well, maybe, but only one at a time, because you know you can't wear the two hats. But we're also starting to see some experimentation on membership term, or not term, but leadership terms. Indiana Cyber has a discussion right now is, why do we have to flip every year? Why don't we just go to a 2-year structure so that we have better continuity and less uproar and fewer politics? Yeah, I think it's certainly worth exploring if you can find people that are willing to step up for that time period.
I would like to make a comment about cyber branches. We started a cyber branch. First of all, cyber is not one thing. It's anything you want it to be. All it meant for us is we didn't hold regular meetings over lunch. Other than that, we looked just like a regular club. And we formed a little more than 3 years ago. We're 45 members. We're like the 5th or 7th largest club in the district, or 9th largest, something like that. We're bigger than 3/4 of the other clubs. Now, we just recently lost some members on December 31st due to the fact that we're a vision screening club and we haven't been able to do vision screening. So some of our vision screeners have dropped out, but I just recruited somebody yesterday, a school nurse. So we're going to be building back up again. The other thing about cyber is that you can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be long distance. And I'm thinking if we had a cyber club for Tucson, 1.1 million people in Tucson,
wouldn't hurt a thing.
Don't like the traditional clubs, which is why we formed a branch in the first place, because we weren't recruiting to traditional clubs. We were able to recruit people who were still working and even younger. And they didn't want to go to the traditional meetings that the traditional clubs like. So we could be in a small location, we could be in a city, we could be in a county, we could be in a zone, we could be in a district, we could be in a multiple district. And the rule about the 75% in the district, I think that's probably a club that had its eyes outside of their district looking for members. I can't imagine that being a problem for us because we're recruiting in the state.
That's good. And Richard, if you are already 45, why stay a branch when you can be your own cyber club than be a branch, branch club?
I'm going to be president of the parent club this coming year. We have members who are in the branch serving on the board in the club, and we're going to be looking. This is our plan, looking at merging the two back again. Now that we're large enough to bring in a whole bunch of young members into the parent club, perhaps we can merge it back again. Perhaps we can get rid of those differences that caused us to form a branch in the first place. And why don't I want to charter a club? Because I have enough to do right now.
That's right.
Chartering a club, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, I think what we really want are more Lions, right?
Yeah.
We want more Lions, and the administration that clubs require to just operate is often just onerous for small organizations. And Eleanor, I'm not talking to you directly, but I feel your pain because I've certainly been there over a period of time. But Melissa, you had a comment there. 2 years works if the right person is in place for the. And not so much if you get a stinker. Well, that's true. I would say that probably one of the 3 most successful clubs in my state went to 2 years about 40 years ago. And they went from about 80 members to 180 members. So it's that continuity has helped them. So yeah, Phil's sitting back there absorbing everything quietly. I like that, but yeah, that's kind of.
I'll give you a short story when you fancy it, if you have time for it.
Shoot, man.
So I joined my second club, which I loved, and I was charter president, and it was a big club, a strong club, and we lasted 25 years. Loved it. miss it terribly. I moved and tried to travel to the club still, but it was a bit of a journey. After working in the city, coming home and driving back to where I used to live. They closed the club, which really bruised me when I was actually on a Lions mission. So as a loss, I formed a new club, and well, let's call it a virtual club. But the first one I formed, my wife joined, and that was when Mahendra Amasuriya was the president.
Right.
And I said to him, I'm thinking of starting a virtual club, a cyber club, as it would have been called. He said, great. I said, there's a lot of people that want to be Lions, they haven't got a commitment time, or they can't travel, or they have disabilities. And we formed this club back in Mahendra's time. So something like, what's that, 2006 or 8, something like that. Still going strong. My wife's still a member of it. 18 members. They meet virtually. Now they didn't have Zoom in those days, but now they meet on Zoom. So it used to be a chat. It could never be what they said, and they'd always wanted to be a Lion. And one was asked to speak at a multiple district convention. She said it's changed her life. Well, that was pretty powerful. That made me think of cyber.
Yep.
And then I saw presidents, conventions, badging up the mayor or badging up a guest or badging up anybody that's suddenly there but is a dignitary. What did they do with them when they badged them up? Where did they go? What did they join? Most of them didn't join anywhere. They didn't do anything. They were made a fictitious Lion and a badge put on them. And that's probably the last they ever saw of them wearing that badge. So I started a club that could badge those people up and they could join. And that's, Jody, that's called the Centennial 100 Champions, which is the one that joins you every week.
There you go.
And we got 36 members, but we've got the chief executive for brain tumor research, the chief executive of head and neck cancer, the chief executive for Special Olympics, the chairman of Special Olympics UK, the president of Eurasia Special Olympics, We got members from Latvia, Bosnia, America, Australia, UK, Ireland, and others. But you have to have a majority percentage from the UK. So that's the club I belong to now. It's nothing like the club I was used to, that I loved. And because it's so diverse, we've just badged up 6 athletes from Special Olympics. One of them's come straight on as a board member. Very foisty, really, really cool. But that's diversity. And that's how I believe we should be changing the whole association. I have very strong views, as everybody will tell you, and Daniel knows me exceptionally well. I love you too, Jody.
Hey,
but I say as it is. I mean, I'm really passionate.
I hate to be the party pooper, but a number of us really have to go. And Richard, I'll let you wrap it up, but darn, this was fun. I think we should do it every week. That's my opinion. I'm only one person, but you know, even if we just chat about whatever the topic, whatever is on anyone's mind, I think it'd be fantastic. So
thank you all for coming today. And thank you, Lion Jody, Lion Charlie, and Lion Daniel for pitching in and helping out. We only came up with this idea a couple of days ago. It was fun. Thank you for participating. And if you're not members of the Global Lions Forum, please join. And Lions Virtual on YouTube has over 50 different videos now on a variety of subjects. And you'll see some awful pretty faces there. So, thank you so much. And have a very good day.
See you later.
Hope to see you on Saturday.
Charlie, nice seeing you.
See ya.
See.